Welcome to our Congregation Connect training on entering payments. Today, we're going to learn about GL batches, batch payment processing, the virtual terminal, and payment profiles. So GL batches are batches that transactions are placed in, and this is based on where they were created. For example, when we did billing, we used two different wizards to do that billing, the Generate Revenue wizard as well as the Global Billing wizard. And so those are two different interfaces, and those transactions went into separate batches. Similarly, if I were to enter payments on one day or another day, or payments were entered from authorize.net, they would go into separate batches as well. Batches close at night, and batch payment processing batches close when the full amount has been entered. Let's take a quick look at GL batches in our system. Here I am on my home page. Notice that I'm in the Financials app. I'm going to click on GL batches, this tab here at the top. So here are my batches. I'll select my list view of all to see all of them. And if I click on any one of these, you can see here are the details of the batch. I have the GL batch number, total batch amount, the status, as well as the batch date and the type. So let's take a look now at how we enter payments into the system. Let's go back to our slide deck first. And so batch payment processing is a wizard that we use to enter payments for items that were either billed already or for items that are not yet in the system, like a donation. A batch is automatically created from this wizard. So the next screen that you'll see on the batch payment processing wizard is the payments entry screen. This is where you will enter the payment amounts for each account. You can choose to either pay off a full balance by selecting this checkbox over here, or you can enter a partial payment amount toward an open balance. You can also enter payments for things that have not yet been billed. And once you click continue, the payments are posted to the account. So let's take a look at this in the system. I'm going to click on my batch payment processing wizard up here at the top, this tab. So first you'll see the batch date on this screen. This can either be the date that you're entering the payments, or if you wanted to enter the date that you received the payments, that is at your discretion. I'm going to keep this date as today. The total batch amount is going to be the total of all of my cash or checks that I'm about to enter. For this example, I'm going to say that my total batch amount is $325. Over here, the default payment method is optional, but if you have a stack of all checks on your desk, for instance, you may want to select check. I'm going to select check for this example, but if you have a combination of payment methods or a variety of them, then you may want to just leave this blank. Default designation, if you are about to enter payments that are mainly for one specific designation, you can choose to select a default designation here. I am going to leave this blank, and default class you can simply ignore. Down here, you see we have the continue button, the cancel button, and the add fields button. I'm going to add fields to show you what this does. Let's say that I have at least one donation within the payments that I'm about to enter. I'm going to want to add some fields here so that I can enter that donation information while I'm entering the payment. So along with that payment. So I'm going to add additional fields so that I can enter that information in here as well. So for example, I will do invoice, let's do memorial person to notify. I'm going to click add fields again. I will do the message, honor memorial message, and let's do honor memorial type. So you would add more fields than this, but I am going to just use these as an example of the add fields function. So let's click continue down here once I'm done setting up my batch payment processing. And this next screen is where we're going to enter our payments. So the first payment that I'm going to enter is going to be a partial payment toward an open balance on an account. Up here, we have the organization or household. I can click here to view my options. I can also use the search icon here if I wanted to search within an object. But my first check that I have on my desk, we're going to say is from David Wilson. So I'm going to type in the name of the household. I see it pop up there and I select it. Now, you see that the paid by household and primary contact has automatically filled in for me. If you have a different household that has actually made this payment, then you can click the X icon over here to remove this household as the paid by household. If, for instance, you wanted to indicate that a payment was made by a household other than the one you've selected up here, and that would be mainly for your tax letters, tax purposes. For this example, I'm just going to use David Wilson because the check is from him on his account, for his account. Over here, you'll notice that we have the total batch amount, which was $325. That's the total amount of all of my checks that I'm about to enter. And the amount that's been processed is 0 because we are entering the first check right now. So we've not processed any of the batch yet. Down here, I have the total open amount for David Wilson's account. So this is the total open balance on his account is $100. The total amount of his payment has defaulted to my total batch amount. I'm going to click on that field and I'm going to type in the amount of his check, which was for $75. Now over here, the payment method is check. If I wanted to change this, I could, but this is correct. And it has defaulted to check because I selected check as my default payment method for the batch. I can type in the check number here, and down here, I can select a check date. Remember, I added the additional fields here. So if I was entering a donation, I could include the information for that donation here. This particular check from David Wilson is going to be applied toward his open balance on his account. So down here, I see all of his open invoices. And here I'm going to enter the amount of his payment that he's paying, and that is $75. We're applying the whole entire check toward his current balance of $100. So this is going to be a partial payment on his open balance. So down here, I have the total amount to process has updated. It now says $75. Amount remaining for payments, 0. I've applied the entire check toward this open balance. And down here, I have the total account balance due now on his account is going to be $25 because we're paying $75 toward his current balance of $100, leaving $25 still due on his account. So down here, I'm going to click continue. And now I'm at the create payment screen again to enter my next payment. So let's say my next check is from the Flintstone household. And I select my household name here. And you see that everything fills in for me. I'm going to, one moment. Flintstone household, let's try that again. And the information's populated for me. I'm leaving this alone. The total batch amount is $325 here. The amount processed is $75 because we've already entered a check for $75. Now here it says the total open amount on the Flintstone household account is $25,000, $25,310.07. However, they have given us a check for $100, and it is simply a donation. So here for total amount of payment, I'm going to enter $100. The payment method is check. I can enter the check number, check date here. And they've given us a check for $100 for a donation. So I'm going to enter in these additional fields for the donation. So let's say, Freddie's bar mitzvah, or Freddie Flintstone. Let's say honor memorial message, Mazel Tov, Freddie, and honor memorial type, we're going to say honor. But here's just an example of how you would use these additional fields when entering a donation. So I've entered those additional fields for the donation, and we do see these open charges on the account. However, I'm just entering this one check for the donation. So I'm scrolling down to the bottom here. This check is not going to be applied toward any of their open balances. So I'm going to, in order to enter the donation, I'm going to click on the new payment button down here at the bottom. And when I select that new payment button, we'll see I have this additional line that's appeared here now. So I'm going to select the designation. I'm going to say this is going to the Happy and Special Fund. It's a donation in honor of Freddie's bar mitzvah to that fund. I'm leaving all these dates in here, and I'm going to enter the amount of this donation, which is $100. And down here, I am going to click on continue at the bottom of the screen. So again, I added this additional line by clicking the new payment button. And now I'm going to click on continue. And now I'm back here at this create payment screen. I'm ready to enter my next check into the system. So my next check is payment from the Smith household to for $150, and they would like to pay off their account balance, and they said to just apply any remaining amount as a credit on their account. So let's take a look at that. So I'm going to enter their name in the household field up here. Let's search here. Okay, so now I'm searching for Smith. It is the John Smith household. Again, I just used that search function to search in the object. It is the Smith household with the primary contact of John Smith. Here it says my total batch amount is still $325. The amount that's been processed so far is $175. Down here, the total open amount on John Smith's household account is $100. He has given us a $150 check, so this amount is correct for this payment. I can type in the check number here. I can enter the check date. So his check for $150 is to pay off his account balance, and he told us to apply the remaining amount on his account as credit. So we're going to, for this balance that he has, this $100 balance, we're going to select the pay full balance checkbox here, and that will apply $100 toward his current open balance of $100. Now, we still have $50 remaining on his check that he said we could apply as a credit on his account. So down here, I'm going to click on new payment. Notice on the bottom here, it has the total amount to process of $100, and I still have $50 remaining for payments, which I'm going to enter as a credit on his account. So here under designation, in order to apply credit, I'm selecting on account. This is what we use as the designation for a credit on an account. And I'm going to enter 50 as the amount. That's the remaining amount on the check. And now I'm going to click continue. And now you see it's brought me back to this GL batch screen because my batch is now completed or closed, as you can see from the status right here, because I have entered that entire batch amount. So the total batch amount of $325 has been entered, and the system knows that I have now finished entering all of my payments. So now let's take a look at the invoices that were created. Now let's take a look at the Wilson household. So here we see the $75, the posted payment that we applied toward his $100 open balance on his account. The $75 is the posted payment that we just entered into the system. Down here, we can see that check information. Now let's go back. The next payment that we entered was for the Flintstone household. And here we see that donation of $100 for the Happy and Special Fund. And if we scroll down here, we can see the tribute information that we entered in those additional fields for Freddie Flintstone. Let's go back. And finally, let's take a look at the Smith household. So the Smith household, you'll see there are two invoices that were created. The first invoice for the Smith household shows us that we paid $100 to close their open balance of $100 on this invoice. And then the second invoice that was created for the Smith household here was applying that credit, that $50 credit on their account. And if we go to the Smith household account, we can see that they have a total account credit now of $50 right here. So let's go back to our slide deck now. And let's take a look at the virtual terminal. So the virtual terminal is our built-in credit card and ACH processor. Like batch payment processing, you can enter payments for something that's already been billed. You can fully or partially pay things. You can also submit one-time payments, future dated payments, and recurring payments, and submit charges for items that have not yet been billed. So let's also take a look at payment profiles. And payment profiles are also known as tokenized credit cards or ACH. These are just our saved credit cards in the system, essentially. So the payment profiles, again, are where your saved credit card information is in the system. They can be used, payment profiles can be used in the virtual terminal, the portal, and they can also be added to existing scheduled payments when they are saved. So let's take a look at this in the system. So I'm going to click on virtual terminal at the top of my screen. Here, I'm going to select charge and click continue. Now, the first charge that I'm going to do, let's say it is for the account name. I'm going to say is Feldman. I selected that account, and I'm going to also click the enter button here. And here it's entered her information. So I have the paid by household as the Feldman household. Again, you could change this if it was paid by someone else. If you change the paid by household, then your primary contact is also going to change, as well as their payment information down here at the bottom. For this example, I'm keeping it as the Feldman household and the primary contact as Lindsay Feldman. Notice you do have the option to apply a credit card fee up here if you select this box. For the address information, I have used the account address selected, and therefore it is using the account address in here. If you wanted to, you could use a different address for the billing address. Down here, I have create payments, and up here, and this is where I would enter a new payment if I wanted to. So for this, let's say that we're entering membership dues for the Feldman household. I'm going to say that she's paying $100 toward her $100 dues. Here I have the number of installments, so I can choose how many installments I would like, and I can also choose an interval and an installment date here. Let's say she wants to pay for 4 quarterly installments, and the first date, let's say, is going to be September 1. And I'm going to keep the invoice created date as today. Down here, it has the total charge of $100. And as we'll see, the scheduled payments will occur quarterly beginning on September 1st. Now down here under complete payment information, I have credit card selected. If there were saved credit cards, I'd be able to select them from here, but I'm going to enter a new one. I'm going to say it is Lindsay Feldman's credit card. Expiration date. I'm going to select save card information here. You must select this box to save it. Oop, that should be card number. Card name, let's call it Lindsay Visa. This is just the card name that you would name it in our system. I'm going to click process payment. And it says invoice was processed successfully. Now, let's take a quick look at what exactly that did. So here we have the Feldman invoice for membership dues. We have the number of transactions is 4. And here you see it created 4 scheduled payments quarterly, each one of $25. And here are the quarterly dates that are scheduled. If I click on one of these transactions, you'll see the scheduled payment, the date of it, the amount, and also we can see down here the payment information that is a part of this scheduled payment. I have the payment profile. I have Lindsay Visa selected here. And also this custom recurring processing checkbox is selected. Now, if for some reason I wanted to remove this information, I could remove this from the scheduled payment. And I can also edit a scheduled payment to add a payment profile to it if I want to. So just to show you, if I wanted to remove this information, I could edit the custom recurring processing field. And I can deselect this box. Before I do, just notice that automatic payment here is selected because the custom recurring processing box is selected. Now, if I uncheck this box and I want to remove her payment profile because I don't want that payment to go through, then I can click save down here. You'll notice that automatic payment checkbox has automatically deselected as well. So if you want to add or remove a payment method to a scheduled payment, that is how you do it. So if I wanted to add a payment profile to a scheduled payment, I could do exactly what I just removed here as what I would add. So I could just edit the payment information on a scheduled payment. I could select a payment profile here by clicking the edit icon, and I would check off custom recurring processing there to add a payment profile to a payment. Now, let's just take a quick look back at the virtual terminal and just take a look at how we would pay off an existing balance. So I'm going to pull up the Seinfeld account. And here they have some open charges here. And I'm going to pay, let's just say I'm going to pay $1 towards their Picnic 2021 charge here. So notice under pay amount, I can either pay the full balance by selecting this box, or I can type in an amount in this field. So again, I'm going to do $1 towards their Picnic 2021 charge by just entering the $1 there. And down here now says total charge $1. He has saved payment information. So I'm going to click on a card name here. And then I'm going to click process payment at the bottom of this screen. It says invoice was processed successfully. And here under invoices, I can see that Jerry Seinfeld's payment has been made and his scheduled payment is now reduced to $199 from $200 because we posted $1 just now. So again, to add a new credit card, you can go into the virtual terminal and simply enter the account information up here and select a new credit card down here. And remember to select save credit card information and then click process payment to save a new payment profile. So we've covered everything that we're going to go over today, and I hope you learned a lot about entering payments from this training.